Distinguished participants to this unique virtual 8th Parliament of the world's religions, brothers and sisters of the world. I turned 90 in March and have personally witnessed the dramatic changes that have taken place on the planet over the last 70 years. Science and technology have indeed made extraordinary progress, and human beings are now ready to break into outer space and perhaps even begin permanent settlements on other planets in the next decade. It is a cruel irony, however, that despite this phenomenal progress, our own planet is now itself in danger due to human greed and exploitation. Climate change has brought us to a tipping point, and unless all the nations of the world really cooperate in controlling carbon gas emissions and taking other necessary measures, we may well be in for a major calamity by the end of the next decade. It is therefore fitting that the interfaith movement is working closely with the environmental movement. However, we must remember that the primary purpose of the interfaith movement and of the World Congress is to bring about a better understanding between different religious communities. We find that there are still many regions in the world which are plagued by interreligious conflicts, and there are organizations active around the world determined to create chaos and mayhem wherever possible. To confront these forces, it is essential for the interfaith movement to have a clear philosophical underpinning. There are many articulations of this, including the excellent statement issued for the 1993 Parliament held in Chicago, which I attended. It is in this context that I venture to place before this distinguished audience a set of 5 sutras, cryptic statements compassing a wealth of meaning, based essentially on the Vedantic philosophy, which between them give us a roadmap for addressing the multiple problems that humanity faces today. The first sutra, Ishavasyavidam Sarvam Yatkin Jagatyam Jagat, says that this entire cosmos, from the stately waltz of the galaxies to the frenetic rock and roll of subatomic particles, is inhabited by the same divine power. This represents the philosophic correlate to the unified field theory that scientists are seeking to explain all the multiple phenomena in the universe. Almost all religions believe in an overarching divinity that pervades the universe, which in the Hindu tradition is known as Brahman. Second sutra, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe Tishtati, the Lord resides in the heart of all beings, holds that this pervasive divine power also resides in each one of us, known in Hinduism as the Atman. This is ultimately the golden thread that links the entire human race into what my third sutra, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is a family, expresses. It is only in our lifetimes that science and technology have given us instant communications, the internet, television, and a vast array of technological instruments which have unified the world as never before. However, these instruments have been used for aggression, terrorism, and interreligious conflicts. Until we realize that in the final analysis, planet Earth is a single living entity, and that calamities such as the COVID pandemic and climate change can never be controlled unless all countries, regardless of their location or ideology, work together in cooperation. The fourth sutra, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti, the truth is one, the wise call it by many names, is the very foundation of the interfaith movement. The Hindu acceptance of multiple paths to the divine is, I would submit, a prerequisite for any meaningful interfaith dialogue. We can be totally committed to our particular religion, but unless we accept the fact that different religions offer differing paths to the divine, we will never attain a peaceful global society. In this context, we must adopt an individual inclusivist and not an exclusivist approach. The final sutra, Bahujana Sukhaya Bahujana Hitaya Cha, speaks of the welfare of the many, the happiness of the many. This means that apart from working for our own salvation, all of us in the interfaith movement must commit ourselves to help the less fortunate members of society to attain a decent standard of living. In this context, I would like to condemn in the strongest possible terms the despicable phenomenon of human trafficking, especially of children. I was shocked to learn recently that this is now $100 billion a year business, which is quite astonishing. We must do whatever we can to confront this obnoxious practice. How can the welfare of the many be ensured if such reprehensible practices continue? Friends, if together we accept the 5 sutras that I place before you, we will begin to fulfill our responsibility as members of the interfaith movement and to move towards a peaceful and caring global society. Our beautiful blue planet, a speck of light against the unending vastnesses of outer space, has nurtured us up from the slime of the primeval ocean 2 billion years ago to where we are today. Let us not further defile it with our thoughtless exploitation of nature or our internecine conflicts in the name of the all-pervasive divine. Let us rather repay our debt to her, nurture her, heal her wounds, and behave as children should towards their mother. May the force be with you. Namaskar.